I had the opportunity to attend one of the committee meetings that was reviewing this legislation, and I was particularly interested in the panel from Ontario SPCA and Humane Society, the Toronto Humane Society, and Dr. Martha Harding, who operates 3 not-for-profit veterinary clinics. And they shared stories about, in this current affordability crisis, how we are seeing a doubling of demand for pet food at community food banks. They are seeing more and more animals having to be surrendered for economic reasons, which is absolutely heartbreaking, because all families, low-income people, should be able to access veterinary services. So what in this bill will expand access to veterinary services, especially for low-income Ontarians?
Response, the Minister of Agriculture.
Well, thank you very much for that question. And simply put, the expansion and recognition of the scope of practice in our veterinary clinics across Ontario, whether it's urban downtown Toronto or in Rainy River, is going to improve access. And specifically, when I say that, I mean the recognition of the scope of practice for veterinary technicians is going to be a game changer, quite frankly, because if a veterinarian is tied up and somebody comes in or phones in requesting care, in teaming up
Response?
with the veterinarian, the vet tech can now fully practice to their full scope of experience and training. Thank you very much.
During the committee hearings on the bill, we heard from the Ontario SPCA as well as the Toronto Humane Society, who pointed to the fact that there are current regulations that give those organizations special status because they operate animal shelters, so therefore they are also able to provide veterinary services. But they urged that new regulations be developed under this new governance system that's set out in this bill that would enable the expansion of non-profit delivery of veterinary care so that it doesn't have to only be associated with a charity that operates an animal shelter, because they really emphasize the need to expand veterinary services to low-income Ontarians, and the current cost of veterinary services is a real barrier to access.
Response, the Minister of Agriculture.
I thank the member opposite because I understand you participated in committee as well, and thank you for your time that you gave to reviewing this particular piece of legislation. But the fact of the matter is that amendment and that notion is outside of the scope of this enabling legislation. Thank you.
Again to the minister, during the hearings on this bill at committee, we heard about the veterinary legislative oversight bills or acts that are in place in other jurisdictions. BC, Alberta, Nova Scotia, Florida, all include non-profit veterinary services in their veterinary legislation. So my question to the minister is, can she assure all of those veterinarians who want to be able to provide non-profit delivery of veterinary services, can she assure them that the regulations under this Act will be expanded to enable that in this province?
Response, the Minister of Agriculture.
Well, thank you very much, Speaker, and I appreciate the question coming from the member opposite. But we need to remember what we're debating today is enabling legislation, and the regulations will be facilitated through that new college that will be created if this bill should pass. And with that said, I trust the individuals that have come together to work together to realize this modernization. And I'd like to give a shout out to the College of Veterinarians of Ontario, the Ontario Veterinary Medicine Association, as well as the Ontario Association of Veterinary Technicians, and all of the other professions that provide services to either pets or livestock throughout this province. And I trust that when it comes to those conversations that need to be had to bring forward regulations, there will be much thought and responsibility given to that action.